to Young Climber. This is a show that speaks personality, business, and most importantly, passion. Today we're joined by Ndumi Mtetwa, who has traveled the ocean to obtain her master's degree, and she returns to impart her knowledge and give opportunities to eMaswati. I'm Tabelo Dlamini, and let's get climbing. And now giving us a VIP platform to her story is none other than Ndumi Mtetwa. Ndumi, welcome to Young Climber.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm actually excited to talk to you because, you know, sometimes when I have people here, I'm always eager to ask them how did they get to where they are. And one question that I always have is your personal journey, starting from the beginning, you know. Younger, did you ever imagine that you'd be pursuing a career in human resources? Because we always wish to be doctors or nurses when we're much younger, but did you see yourself going this far with your education, especially choosing this field?
Well, thanks for the question. To be honest, it's not something that I completely wanted to pursue. I wanted to be a doctor, but unfortunately the mathematics was a bit of a strain. I'm not good at maths. So then I decided, okay, let me take on psychology. I wanted to be a counseling psychologist, but then that didn't work as well. So I thought, you know what, managing people for me is where my passion lies. Just having to see a person grow in front of me and develop in front of me. So I thought, you know what, let me take on management, but particularly in the HR department. So I just started to roll with it and I enjoyed it.
And then let's talk about your education, because you have a bit of a different story to eMaswati. Given the options that are around you, you know, you traveled the oceans, as I mentioned, to go and pursue your degree. How did that come about and why that specific decision?
I think I've always been someone who loves to explore. I don't like to be complacent. I've always just wanted to know how it's like to be abroad and what the life looks like there. And, you know, I decided to tell my parents, hey, this is what I want to do. And they really supported the vision of me pursuing my master's degree in the United States. And that's when they decided you can pack your bags. And I decided to apply as well, because the application process is a lot. It's not just something that can happen instantly. You have to apply, you have to look for accommodation, you need to look for scholarships, all those things I had to do on my own, and eventually I got an acceptance and I decided to go and pursue that.
And now, you know, transitioning into you moving to the USA, can you talk about the cultural differences? What are some adjustments did you have to make personally getting over there? You know, the minute your foot landed on the ground, what was your thought? What were your thoughts, and how did you manage life as Liswati going into the United States of America?
First of all, when I landed, it was like, whew, a breath of fresh air. Welcome to America, the land of the free. It was a very overwhelming trip at first because I'm not so used to long traveling. So when I got there, it was just the time to deal with the time zones. I had to make sure that I'm well enough to really get used to the environment. But once I got there, I started just going with the flow and meeting people when I got there. So I think for me, getting there was just the biggest thing for me. It was amazing. I was so ready to take on new opportunities
and you know, looking at you and, you know, listening to your stories, you definitely took on some opportunities. And one was life as a working student. You know, not so many people can manage that, but you did that. And can you talk about that? Why did you decide to work while you were studying? And of course, the challenges that you came to face doing that.
Well, I think the biggest thing as a student living abroad is the fact that you are a foreigner in a country that is unknown, and you have to deal with so many things. So the biggest thing for me was definitely finances. I had to make sure that I pay my own rent, I pay my own groceries. My parents were providing the educational part of things. They were paying for my education, but I had to make means in terms of me surviving there. I managed to take off like take up different jobs. I even had a job where I was waitressing. So you take up different jobs in the US, which is a good thing. It gives you an opportunity to get different money from different sectors. But I think the biggest challenge when you are abroad is definitely the financial aspect of things. And you know, it's not like here in Swaziland where, you know, how can I say it? It's more so when you are done with your matric or done with your Form 5. It's like you're thrown into the jungle and made to survive. I think the cultural differences with the US and here is that at least you can take up more jobs that side than here, where, you know, you would need to maybe find employment, which can be difficult as well.
And now we talk about, let's take it back to the financial constraints. And of course, you know, parental assistance pertaining this. You moved so far, and how did you manage to stay afloat? Because taking upon the work, but you need to dial that phone and say, Mom, I need money. And most importantly, like, how did you survive? And how were you telling your parents, could say, I need more money, please bump up the cheese?
I think I was very fortunate to, when I applied originally, I got the scholarship. So it was like a partial scholarship for the educational side of things, but it was also a stipend, meaning I was a graduate assistant. So I was working closely with my professors and helping them with whatever educational materials they needed. So I was able to at least get some kind of income from that. But other than that, I wouldn't call, I wouldn't tell them, hey, I need more money, because I know how difficult it is. And when you have to transfer lilangeni to the US dollar, it's a lot of money. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity of having parents that were able to afford my education.
Now we talk about balance, because you know, excelling academically and juggling a job is something else. Did you even have a life, you know, having to work and, you know, managing your schoolwork? How did you balance it out?
I think I'm a bit of an introverted individual. I did, you know, have a social life, just like any other girl has to have a social life. But I had to balance it because the most important thing was for me to make sure I excel academically and go back home with a certificate knowing that I achieved something. Personally, for me, it was a goal that I wanted to achieve. And I think ungaba hlazo uthi ubuyele ekhaya so fele onke ama modules akho yonke la mali abayibhadalayo ekhaya it was just a waste. So for me, I had to make sure that I put my priorities first. I make sure my marks are straight on point, and then the social life can continue.
And then let's talk about your personal growth and, you know, traveling abroad. How did that contribute to your own personal growth? What are some of the things that you learned during your time overseas, and you're like, this really helped me as a person?
I learned to be self-reliant. Huge thing for me. I'm often babysitted, you know. I think when you're in Swaziland, it's a Swazi thing, having to just take care of Bambana, and you can't be on your own and make your own decisions. So one thing that really did help me was making my own decisions, being independent, and trusting my instincts. I think that was the biggest thing for me. And also just networking and making connections with people, which I think is very key. It's not only internationally where you make connections, you also make connections even here at home. But the biggest thing was definitely being self-reliant, and I gained so much confidence in myself just to be out there and speak to people, because sometimes I used to be shy, you know, but now I'm bubbly and I'm out there and my personality is showing more. So I can definitely say that was a takeaway for me.
And I'm glad, you know, you mentioned networking. I'd like to know, what's the valuable lesson that and the impact that's had on your career, especially coming back home, keeping those connections in the US? How has it helped you, you know, for your own personal growth and of course the growth of your business?
You know, there's a saying that says it's not really what you do, but it's who you know.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes not even sometimes, always, your attitude takes you far away. How you speak to people, how you treat people, I think is very key, because sometimes you can have a very bad ego and think that you know something, which of course you might know it, but if you don't treat people well, it doesn't work for you in your career long term. So the biggest thing for me was just making sure that I remain humble and I'm able to still keep those connections internationally and in Eswatini, which is the biggest thing for me. I have to keep on doing these networkings to become a better person.
And now, the most interesting part. You went all the way from human resources management to establishing yourself in, you know, the culinary space, where you came with BuB Restaurant and, of course, catering. Can you tell us about that transition, and of all the things that you could have done returning home, why was it that specifically?
To be honest, coming back home for me, I had no choice because, you know, I'm originally born from an entrepreneurial family where we have family businesses, and I decided to take on the restaurant because I have a passion and love for the culinary arts. It's something that I didn't even think twice about. I was just like, let's roll with it, let's do it, because I just love it. I feel like when I'm cooking, I'm in my zone, I'm in my space. I just, you know, sometimes they even ask me, like, why do you have your headphones on? And I'm just like chopping the onions there. Like, because I'm just enjoying it. It's my space, you know, I love it. And I love it when people eat my food and they just taste and they're like, oh wow, this is good. So that's the love for BuB. That's where it all came from, the passion.
And, you know, abroad you did work in like a food chain kind of setup. How did that have an influence in you taking upon this decision, and what do you draw from that and you're implementing right now in your business?
Customer service.
Yeah.
Very, very important. People don't understand how pivotal customer service is. Going to an extent where you really treat your customer really well. Yes. You know, going above and beyond. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think that's the biggest take for me. Customer service was the one for me.
And now, seeing the business grow, how can you say Maswati were receptive to the business, and how are you making sure that, you know, marketing strategies are put into place to make it a success?
Well, marketing would definitely be your social media. People need to play around with social media. At first, I thought, you know, social media is not it, and you want to live a private life, but if you have a business that you need to market, I think it would be wise to market it on social media, but in a very effective way. So social media has definitely helped me. I'm trying to look at other ways I can, you know, put the word out there and to make it even better.
All right. And you know, you play such an important role as the operations manager for your family business. Can we talk about family businesses? What are some of the challenges that you go through? You know, working with a brother is so nice, but there's sometimes where you just want to put the foot on the neck. What are some of the challenges that you face, you know, being in a family business?
It's challenging, I would say, but it's fun at the same time. 24% of the time, well, 90% of the time, I'm always home. So I really try and differentiate the two, because I have a personal life, I have my family, and then I have a social life, so I have to balance that. But most of the time, even when we're sitting at the dining table, it's always about business. I'm like, okay, can we change the topic now? Like, like, okay, this is what we do every day, but now can we just change it? But it does come with challenges. There have been times where, you know, I've had to sit down, I've had meetings with me, and they tell me that, no, this is not how you do it. This is how you're supposed to do it, because it comes from people that have been in the business game for a very long time. So now they're imparting that knowledge to their children and making sure that we take over the family business and it doesn't die. So I appreciate it, and I think it's a beautiful thing for me.
All right, he's still chatting to Ndumi. When we return, we get to hear more about her entrepreneurial journey and, of course, her personal life and, most importantly, her passion. With more when we return.
This weekend is Swatini, your official weekend party starter. Tune in for the best of entertainment. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send your shout outs. Be sure to catch our movie segment where we review and give updates on all latest movies. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
Welcome back. You know, we're still sitting down with the beautiful Ndumi Mtetwa. She is unpacking her life journey, being in a family business, and most importantly, herself as an individual with a master's degree in HR management. And Ndumi, you know, let's backtrack a little bit. We did briefly talk about BuZobo. You know, there's something funny that she said, but we talk about the title. Let's talk about the title of the brand, and of course, you managing the brand and how it merges into other businesses that are being run as a family.
Yes, well, BuB Restaurant is a place where people dance. That's the whole meaning of it. It's an entertainment restaurant.
Yeah.
The idea came from a very good friend of ours that named the restaurant, and that's why I think you would have BuZobo. I was like, what does that mean? And then she was like, well, it's a place where you can dance and really have fun.
Yeah.
So when a person comes in there, I want them to feel very happy. You know, we want to serve them and give them the best service. So how BuZobo and Ekupholeni merge together. Ekupholeni deals with the accommodation aspect of things.
Yes.
So here we've got beautiful rooms, luxurious rooms where people can sleep here. We also host weddings. We also have a catering team that is dedicated to making sure that they serve the most delicious food. So that's what happens at Ekupholeni Garden Villas. So please, if anyone is welcome to, you know, book here, welcome to have a picnic here, and you know, there's that privacy aspect to it. So
yeah, and it definitely sounds like an all-rounder. You know, I mean, having a wedding, you get a place to sleep, you get a place to eat. It's definitely an all-in-one. But moving on, let's talk about something that will come into fruition and the future of this, especially the Empowered Female Foundation, which is a commendable initiative. Can you talk about what it is and what you are planning to make it?
Right. Thank you so much for the question. I've always wanted to create a foundation for myself because I have a passion for really extending help to people that are less fortunate. I also love reading books. So I thought to myself, why not come up with a foundation where I can really extend to not only the young girl but also the boy child? Maybe donate books, old books or any books that people don't use, to make sure that I distribute them. Even food, it could be anything. Stationery when they go back to school, so they have stationery when, you know, they need it. So the foundation for me really is at heart, and it's something that I'm looking forward to collaborating with other companies so we can actually start going into the community and helping the young girls and the young boys. And
one fun thing about you, or the most beautiful thing about you, is that you are definitely considerate of other people, and most importantly, you want to, you know, impart your knowledge with other young individuals in the Kingdom of Eswatini. You hosted a black tie dinner for young entrepreneurs. Can you talk about that? What inspired you to even do something like that, especially for the youth and the community of Eswatini?
I love to connect people together. Anyone that knows me knows that I love to bring people together through food and networking. So the whole idea behind the business dinner I first hosted one, I think it was back in 2021. I actually had Uncle Waffles here. It was beautiful. The setup was amazing. It was successful. The whole point of it was geared towards networking and making connections. If you are in the nail tech industry, or you are in the corporate industry, or you are a hustler, you're really trying your best to make means and to be an entrepreneur and make money. I wanted to create a space where anyone, well, not anyone, but people that are passionate about business can come together in a less, more formal setting and actually share bread and share ideas with each other. So that was the whole concept of the business dinner.
Ndumi, you know, you mentioned something about sponsorships. Most people, when they host events or you know, they want to get that financial support from big corporates, from companies. Sponsorship plays such a huge role in making any event happen. What strategies did you put into place to make sure that your black tie dinner was, you know, sponsored and it happened like that? Because sponsors are so important.
Yes, I agree with you. It definitely wasn't an easy task, I'll tell you that. I had to first do my research, like what kind of companies would be interested in sponsoring this type of event. And then I had to look at banks and, you know, figure out like which banks do I approach. I had to physically go there and introduce myself, because sometimes you can talk to people through emails, through phone calls, but once your presence is there and you actually sell your pitch and let them know this is what I plan on doing, then maybe they think of it in a different light than just sending an email. So that's what I did. I physically went out there. I made sure I have my proposal ready. You know, if they called me in today and I have to make sure that I sell that pitch quickly and they really listen to me. So it was difficult, but I think that because of my personality and because I really am passionate about it, they were able to really sponsor me with that regard.
And you know, you managed to sell yourself in the banks. Coming back to the event, the future of the concept, let's talk numbers. What are you hoping, or how far out do you hope that it stretches when it comes to the numbers of people that you want to have, and of course merging it into the foundation? You know, you can go out into the outskirts. You know, not everyone will have the opportunity of being a part of the black tie dinner. How are you hoping it stretches into the foundation as well, in terms of you teaching about business?
I'm hoping that I take it globally. In terms of numbers, just probably plenty. I can't think of a fixed number, but I really want it to be global. The vision I have for it is that people will start beading and just like putting money into the foundation where I can actually help and go out into the community and help these people. More than anything, I love aspiring entrepreneurs. I love people that really want to be the best that they can be. So for me, it's very important that once I'm able to establish where the foundation is, as well as the business dinner, I'm able to contribute that money to a young entrepreneur so they can be able to start a business that they've always wanted to start. Because sometimes we do have business ideas, but we don't have the money or the startup to actually start the business. And many people are looking for that platform and looking for that opportunity. So I'm hoping that it will expand to a point where people are really interested in putting in money to help people that want to succeed.
And with you know, you're so knowledgeable and you've gained so much experience, especially being in the USA. We didn't mention that you were a part of the ChickfilA food chain. You know, we spoke briefly about that. I thought you were behind the scenes, but you were like, girl, I was frying the chicken. Can you take us back to your experience there, and now that you're this side, how are you using everything that you have gained to make yourself a success and make sure that we as eMaSwati also reach that first world status in terms of this business, the food business?
I would say it's really having the love for it, because sometimes you can open any business, but if you don't have the love for it, it's good as dead. You know, you have to really love what you're doing for you to be good at it. So that for me would be a takeaway: love what you're doing, and you know, trust God and let it just flow easily.
And lastly, as we wrap up, Ndumi, you know, we've had a beautiful session with you where you were sharing your life, how you've overcome certain situations. But now, what advice would you give to a young Liswati in the outskirts, in the city, who is hoping to, you know, jump the borders of Eswatini and, you know, continue to dream? You're not saying there are no opportunities in the Kingdom of Eswatini, but what are the measures that they can take, you know, to be a part of the global market?
That is a not tough question, but it's a loaded question. The biggest advice I would give anyone that is really determined to make it abroad or just in general, don't give up, because once you give up on yourself, there's nothing to look forward to. That is the biggest thing. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. Keep pushing until you get there. I had to work hard. I didn't get things handed to me. The biggest thing is also to make sure you talk to people that have had experiences, maybe being abroad, and if you want to travel, you'd be surprised. A lot of people have quite good knowledge out there. They'll give you good advice, and do your research, you know. And continue to watch Young Climber. That too. But the biggest thing is just to really don't give up on your dreams. Keep pushing forward.
All righty. Thank you so much, Ndumi, for your time joining us and, you know, sharing your life story. We do hope that all your future endeavors will come to fruition. Especially, we'd love to see you seeing the foundation taking action. And of course, people must visit BuB Restaurant, because that's where you zobla. Thank you so much once again, Ndumi.
Thank you for having me once again as well.
All righty, that was Ndumi Mtetwa. If you don't think that's a beautiful story, then I do not know. This is, of course, Young Climber. Please remember to join us every Tuesday at 6:30 as we share the most beautiful journeys of entrepreneurs in the Kingdom of Eswatini. But for tonight, it's good night and see you next time.